Good morning. I'm Lucia Guthrie, the Chair of Neo-Bionica. Before we begin, there are several housekeeping items for today's virtual launch. Please ensure that your microphone is muted throughout. We will not be holding a live Q&A session. However, please post any questions you might have using the Q&A function on your screen. We will follow up with you after the meeting by email to answer your questions. We do have a special request from our media team to please not post anything about this event on social media until you see posts by Neo-Bionica on Wednesday. On behalf of the board of Neo-Bionica and our colleagues at the Bionics Institute and the University of Melbourne, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the official launch of Neo-Bionica. Thank you for joining us today. I would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their continued connections to land, sea and culture. I pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. I also welcome our special guests, including the Honourable Jala Pulford, Minister for Innovation, Medical Research and the Digital Economy, and former Victorian Premier John Brumby, Chairman of the Breakthrough Victoria Fund. I would also like to acknowledge the attendance of several distinguished guests from the University of Melbourne and the Bionics Institute, including Mr. John Stanhope, Chair of the Bionics Institute Board, Professor Duncan Maskell, Vice-Chancellor of the University of Melbourne, Professor Jim McCluskey, Deputy Vice-Chancellor Research, University of Melbourne, and Associate Professor Michael Coote, Board Director, St Vincent's Health Australia. Victoria is known globally as a leading destination for technology and innovation, with Melbourne one of the top 5 fastest growing startup ecosystems in the world. Taking research through to product development and manufacture of a new drug or medical device is a long and expensive process. Alongside researchers, we need to further develop our cohort of experienced industry professionals, technicians, entrepreneurs and business executives who know how to take an innovation to the next stage to build a marketable product. This ecosystem creates opportunities throughout Victoria, not just for academics, researchers and innovators, but also generates jobs in industry, manufacturing, business, law and finance. Victoria can be a fully integrated research, manufacturing and supply ecosystem, and Neo-Bionica mirrors this ambition. Neo-Bionica's mission is to translate the research and innovations from the Bionics Institute and the University of Melbourne, our partners within ACMD, as well as other Victorian and Australian innovators, into the clinic and then ultimately into commercial product for patient benefit. We will build a multidisciplinary product development, commercialisation and manufacturing team that will see Neo-Bionica become a major resource for the Australian medical community. Today, we're going to hear from Mr. Robert Klupax, the CEO of the Bionics Institute, Professor Duncan Maskell, Vice-Chancellor of the University of Melbourne, and Dr. Ludovic Labar, CEO of Neo-Bionica. But first of all, I'm delighted to now introduce the Honourable Jala Pulford. Thank you, Minister.
Thanks so much, Lucia, and thank you for the opportunity to say a few words this morning and to join you all at this special occasion that I know we'd all dearly love to be doing in person, but we're doing online today, and in person's not too far away. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands from which we're all gathering and to pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. I would also like to acknowledge Mr. Robert Klupax, the CEO of the Bionics Institute, Mr. Ludovic Labar, CEO of Neo-Bionica, Professor Jane Gunn, the Dean of Medicine at the University of Melbourne, and Professor Duncan Maskell, the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Melbourne, the Honourable John Brumby, AO, who, in whose big shoes I walk as the Minister in these portfolios these days. And John is, of course, now our inaugural chair of the Breakthrough Victoria Fund, continuing many decades of work in this area. But to Bionics Institute board members, ladies and gentlemen, it's wonderful to be with you. So today is all about the official opening of this new facility. And of course, like most of you, I do look forward to when we can gather in good numbers again, not so many weeks from now, as we look forward to perhaps more certain future than our recent past. So today in this exciting occasion is all about new developments and emerging opportunities which have the potential to transform people's lives. This joint venture between the Bionics Institute and the University of Melbourne, Neo-Bionica, is the first facility in Australia capable of manufacturing medical device prototypes for use in clinical trials. It'll fast-track new treatments for people with conditions such as epilepsy, Parkinson's, hearing loss, stroke, and diabetes. And when you think about the burden of disease across our community, this is the lives of a lot of people that can be changed by this new development. And since becoming the minister in this area, I have just been so impressed, regularly amazed by the innovation, ability and passion this sector has. I'm also struck by how driven our researchers are to ensure why we don't lose sight of why we do this, which is, of course, all about improving the lives, lengthening the lives of people. Technologies are evolving and bringing increased opportunity for collaboration and personalised treatments to benefit patients. Increasingly, we're talking about personalised medicine, and you see the coming together of both medical research discovery, but technology and data systems, and the potential feels enormous. And of course, I want to see this work being done here in Victoria as we can help people in our own community as well as those around the world. And Neo-Bionica is a beautiful example of this, ensuring that Victorians can benefit from breakthroughs occurring in their own backyard. Our biotech and medical tech industry sector in Victoria continues to grow, but in global terms, it is still emerging. And that's why our government is supporting innovation, research, translation and commercialisation now. We aim to give Victoria's sector a head start in global markets and position the state as a global leader, attracting research and investment opportunities. Now, it is, of course, one thing to have a great idea, but of course, getting that idea out to the world is another thing altogether. And Neo-Bionica represents a critical link, that link between the concept phase and the clinical trial phase, which is so critical for the development, validation and commercialisation of medical devices. This facility will significantly speed up the time it takes to develop and trial a medical device, meaning that patients benefit from the technology earlier. And all this helps bring Victorian ideas and talent to the world, providing substantial healthcare, but also economic benefits for our state. The new facility will also support the next generation of entrepreneurial scientists and engineers, creating both jobs of the future and businesses of the future. And in doing so, Neo-Bionica will provide a boost to the economy and contribute to Victoria's exceptional biomedical leadership. Medical research plays an incredibly important role, not just in scientific discovery, but also in Victoria's economy, as we look with hope and optimism about the important role that it will play in living alongside COVID and navigating the significant changes that have been occurring to the economy. Victoria is undeniably Australia's leader in life sciences, with more than 40% of all our ASX listed life science companies calling Melbourne home. A similar proportion of national research activity, nationally funded research activity happening here as well, of course. Since 2014, our government's been very proud to commit $1.3 billion to medical research. Australia is part of the global trend focusing on these developing technologies that can help people to manage their own health needs using big data and analytics. And our state's medtech and pharma exports are worth more than $2.4 billion a year. It's a very, very significant role. Victoria is world-leading launching ground for research and product development with demonstrated commercial and global impact. And Neo-Bionica will only strengthen our reputation as a biomedical powerhouse and a leader in the field. Our government is really excited to be working with all of you to grow the capability of this ecosystem. We're committed to supporting all forms of medical research, including, of course, those that drive innovation and enable homegrown inventions to be made right here in Victoria. And so we're proud to support the sector boosting programs that Neo-Bionica will deliver, including the voucher program that will help startups to bring medical prototypes to the next stage of commercialisation. Such an important initiative. So thank you so much for having me, and I'm very, very excited to see where this partnership leads us and to hear from the other speakers today. Have a great day, everyone.
On behalf of us all, thanks to the Honourable Jala Pulford for officially opening Neo-Bionica today. Next, I would like to introduce Dr. Robert Klupacs, CEO of the Bionics Institute. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you very much, Lucia, and thank you, Minister Pulford. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Robert Klupacs, the CEO of Bionics Institute. On behalf of my colleagues at Bionics Institute and the University of Melbourne, I'm incredibly proud to be here at the formal opening of Neo-Bionica. The Bionics Institute has long recognised the need to have a facility and venture like this to translate Australia's extraordinary innovation in medical device development. We believe it could lead to the transformation of the lives of many people around the world. Additionally, we believe it will catalyse the growth of a world-leading medical device development and manufacturing hub, creating enormous opportunities for future generations of scientists and engineers. To have joined with the University of Melbourne in that vision and to be virtually standing here today is extremely humbling for all of us at the Bionics Institute. Why is the Bionics Institute so passionate about Neo-Bionica? Many of you may be aware of the role the Bionics Institute has played and continues to play in the development of the cochlear implant, or the bionic ear. This is truly one of the great achievements of Australia, let alone the world, an innovation that was developed through the work of Professor Graham Clark and his colleagues. However, some of you may not be aware of the work the Bionics Institute has continued to undertake, which builds on the legacy of the cochlear implant development. We have created a unique, multidisciplinary environment linking a diverse range of engineers, scientists, and clinicians to create novel medical devices which aim to improve the lives of people with debilitating medical conditions. As you heard, that includes epilepsy, Parkinson's disease, hearing loss, Crohn's disease, arthritis, and more recently, diabetes. Our mission is to translate our discovery and research into the clinic and then ultimately into commercial product for patient benefit. To date, our ability to do this has been severely restricted by a lack of access in Australia to facilities which can produce batches of clinical grade devices from our engineered prototypes. To overcome this major bottleneck, the Bionics Institute and the University of Melbourne have together invested $5 million into building this dedicated facility and recruited exceptional talent to lead it into the future. We believe that not only will Neo-Bionica benefit innovators at the Bionics Institute and the University of Melbourne, but can become, as you heard from Lucy Guthrie, a major resource for the entire medtech community. We look forward to working with our medtech community on the St. Vincent's campus at the ACMD, in which both the Bionics Institute and University of Melbourne are partners. And we also look forward to working with the medtech community and medical device developers across Australia and throughout the world. I would particularly like to thank the Victorian Government for their support of Neo-Bionica through the Victorian Higher Education State Investment Fund. And I would specifically like to thank the Ian Potter Foundation for their generous seed funding donation. We're delighted that Minister Pulford has joined us here today to officially open Neo-Bionica. Minister Pulford, we are very much looking forward to the end of lockdown so we can invite you for a tour and to meet our amazing team in person. I also encourage everyone here today to come and see this truly wonderful facility. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert, and bring on the easing of the restrictions. We will now hear from Professor Duncan Maskell, Vice-Chancellor of the University of Melbourne.
Thank you, Lucia, and good morning, everyone. I begin by acknowledging the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander owners, traditional owners of the land on which the university works and learns. I pay my respects to Indigenous elders, past, present and emerging, and acknowledge all Indigenous people here today and the place of Indigenous knowledge in the Academy. I also particularly want to acknowledge the Minister for Innovation, Medical Research and Digital Economy, Jala Pulford, and thank her for her very welcome remarks today. And of course, on behalf of the university, I also thank Minister Pulford for the Victorian Government's very generous support for Neo-Bionica to be delivered through the Victorian Higher Education State Investment Fund. We'll have a chance shortly to see a video tour of Neo-Bionica, and we've heard a little already about the exciting work that it will do. As the joint founder of Neo-Bionica, the university is really proud of the potential this has to drive innovative production based on new ideas and perhaps some not so new ideas in an emerging and important area of therapeutics and healthcare. Personally, as someone with a long-time interest in the innovation ecosystem, I'm especially appreciative of the fact that the funding announced by the Minister today will help support a number of medtech startups at the facility. And from a university perspective, I also see Neo-Bionica in the context of the close and long-standing working relationship and partnership with our colleagues at St Vincent's Hospital. Neo-Bionica is physically located within St Vincent's and near the Bionics Institute's laboratories, which provides fantastic and ideal proximity with leading clinicians and with world-class researchers around the precinct of hospital and university. All of this, I'm absolutely sure, will prove immensely helpful in creating the right environment for Neo-Bionica's work in the years ahead. I want to note also that Neo-Bionica will be a foundational platform in the Aikenhead Centre for Medical Discovery and will be one of the first research and development facilities supported under the Aikenhead Centre partnership between the university and St Vincent's Hospital. In that sense, I think it's also a great harbinger of the future. Looking out more widely still, it must be said that it's an incredibly exciting time right now to be involved in medical research and clinical trials, such as those to take place around Neo-Bionica and Aikenhead Centre. Medical research and innovation has always been an important part of this city and this nation, but with the growing health challenges facing the world in the 2020s, we are in fact at the centre of events in a more important way than ever before. And that context makes today's launch of a new facility that brings together leading minds from the Bionics Institute, the University of Melbourne, the wider research community, and from industry, a very significant event indeed. Focusing on research translation in areas of pressing clinical need, Neo-Bionica has the potential to revolutionise many treatments and improve the lives of a very large number of people. We don't know what the number of those impacted in a positive way will be, because we can never predict the future, of course. But if we look to the example of one of the great bionics pioneers in this country, Professor Graham Clark, we get some feeling for what this might mean. Around 200,000 people in 100 different countries have had their lives immeasurably improved by the cochlear implant, which of course began with experimental bionics research led by Professor Clark in this city. So, like the Bionics Institute, we at the university are proud to play a part in continuing Professor Clark's outstanding legacy with Neo-Bionica. So, to conclude, I want to thank the Minister once again and congratulate everyone associated with the timely birth of Neo-Bionica. I look forward to the great work that will emerge here in the years ahead, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Maskell. We would now like to share with you a short video about Neo-Bionica. If you have any difficulties viewing the video, you can access it via the YouTube link found in the Q&A.
Neo-Bionica is an end-to-end medical device prototype development provider. With the combined bioengineering expertise and technology needed to create medical devices for clinical trials. It is a joint initiative of the Bionics Institute and the University of Melbourne. Located in the heart of St Vincent's Hospital, our multidisciplinary team works with clinicians, researchers and companies to develop solutions for a range of conditions. The engineers at Neo-Bionica cumulatively have decades of experience in the design of implantable devices for neuromodulation and neuromonitoring applications. Neo-Bionica houses 2 large and well-equipped mechanical and electrical engineering workshops where early prototyping and testing takes place. The jewel in the crown of Neo-Bionica are the two ISO 7 clean rooms, specifically designed and optimised for the fabrication of devices to be implanted in humans. Here, highly experienced and skilled technicians create tiny electrodes under microscopes. They work with components a quarter the width of a human hair to create intricate implants. This unique combination of expertise and state-of-the-art facilities is backed by over 30 years of world-leading medical device development. From the cochlear implant developed by University of Melbourne professor Graham Clark to the Epiminder seizure monitoring device created at the Bionics Institute for Clinical Trials in 2019. Until now, companies around the world had to be contracted to build device prototypes for clinical trials. Now, prototypes can be developed here in Australia, fast-tracking new treatments for patients. One example of a prototype that will be created in Neo-Bionica is an implant under development at the Bionics Institute for type 2 diabetes.
This medical device works by stimulating the vagus nerve. This nerve runs from the brain to the organs in the body, the heart, the lungs, and mainly the one we care about is the pancreas. Theory is that the optimal level of stimulation applied in the right one of the nerve will release the hormones from the pancreas and help us lower blood sugar levels. The aim of the research is to help patients control the device with a small remote control that they can activate after a meal, and that'll help them control the blood sugar levels.
To find out more, go to www.neo-bionica.com.
We trust you enjoyed the video. Next, I would like to introduce Dr. Ludovic Laber. As a business leader, Ludovic has over 20 years' experience in the medical device and technology industry in Europe, the USA, and Asia Pacific, with a range of global companies, including Fortive, Danaher, Siemens, Tektronix, and Invetech. Ludovic holds a PhD in Mechanical Sciences and Material Sciences from the University at Le Havre in France, Master of Science Research from Rouen, France, and Master of Science in Applied and Bachelor of Science in Applied Physics, the University of Le Havre. Ludovic has a record of proven success in bringing innovations to market to generate profitable growth in global high-tech and medical devices markets, in roles ranging from product ideation to go-to-market strategy. We're absolutely delighted to welcome Ludovic as the CEO of Neo-Bionica. Thank you, Ludovic.
Thank you, Lucia, for your introduction. And thank you, Minister Pulford, Professor Maskell, and Dr. Klupax for your words. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We are humbled by your interest in Neo-Bionica. And we also really appreciate that you added another Zoom call to an already very long list of this. We are all passionate about seeing more medical devices application reaching market and having meaningful impact on the lives of patients. All of us on this call share that commitment. We also know that the journey to market for medical device is a complicated one that requires strong partnership to ensure success. We are convinced that by creating Neo-Bionica, we are closing a significant gap in the supply chain of medical devices. And by closing that gap, we will enable more companies to reach market commercialization faster. Our confidence comes from the three pillars that are the foundation of Neo-Bionica. Years of engineering experience in the field of electrodes and implanted electronics, best-in-class facilities, and a strong track record of bringing winning products to global markets. Today, I would like to give you a quick overview of the rationale behind Neo-Bionica. Then I will describe our core offering, and I will close with sharing the key benefits of working with Neo-Bionica for our clients and for the medical device community in general. Let's begin with the history behind our new business. As Robert described earlier, we are the witnesses of fantastic research and development in an area pushing the boundaries of science and engineering, where the use of implanted electrodes in the brain or other parts of the body open a new era of treatments and monitoring of disease, which are currently mostly unsolved. And while this progress are impressive, implanting electronics into a person for the rest of their lives is still very, very challenging. Until now, a company launching a medical device involving electrodes and implantable electronics may have progressed along the research and early development pathway at a reasonable pace, but soon they would be facing the challenge of finding relevant partners when entering first-in-human prototyping and testing. The journey would involve going overseas to suppliers that may not have strong scientific knowledge and sometimes limited preclinical and clinical experience. The founders of our business had the vision of closing that gap by combining the expertise of the engineers at the Bioengineering Institute with a best-in-class first-in-human prototyping facility and strong business leadership around bringing products to market. And from this vision, Neo-Bionica was born. Now is actually a great opportunity for me to thank those involved in establishing Neo-Bionica. In particular, I would like to thank Robert Klupax and Harold Harvey at the Bioengineering Institute, Heather St. John and Ken Jefford at the University of Melbourne. I would like also to thank Andrew Crittenden and Angela Nolan at the St. Vincent Hospital, where Neo-Bionica is located. I would also like to thank the teams working with them at the three institutions. I'm actually immensely grateful for their energy and for their drive toward building Neo-Bionica. Thanks to all of them. So that was the history of Neo-Bionica. Now I would like to describe our offering. Expertise is key in our sector. And our team has been involved in decades of research and development of medical devices in the field of neurotechnology. The video features some of the Neo-Bionica's teams, including Mark Harrison, who was on the original cochlear development team. Mark, as well as Jenny, Helen, Ross, who work in the electrode fabrication in the clean room, were also part of the Bionic Eye, the vagus nerve project, and the Epiminder project. Also, Melbourne and Australia are the powerhouse of world-class engineering, and Neo-Bionica brings strong connection within a comprehensive network of experts, providing product owners with a unique tool towards success. Neo-Bionica also builds on a lasting tradition at the Bioengineering Institute of harnessing the work of clinicians and engineers. We bring together the critical resources to take the ideas of our clients to clinical prototypes. Capital investment in high precision equipment and clean rooms is a massive burden to any new player in the medtech arena. As you saw on the video earlier, we are providing best-in-class facilities and equipment to our clients. And having access through Neo-Bionica to that facility and to the processes that manufacturing these devices involve allows our clients to focus on their patients first, to be fast at moving from their ideas to clinical trials, and eventually to bring the benefits of these new products to patients. Such facilities and engineering expertise, while great assets, will not be sufficient to enable the success of our clients. We also bring a long track record of taking successful medical devices to international markets. And this will also benefit our clients greatly, startups in particular. When we looked at Lucia's background as a CEO of a medtech company, or my time as a provider of design and contract manufacturing, or my experience as the leader of a business in Tektronix in the US, we realized that what our stories have in common is that product success comes from strong market adoption. And to be focused on their markets, business leaders need to surround themselves with partners who take care of solving technical challenges and navigate the journey of device development on their behalf. That requires expertise, capabilities, and processes. And this is what Neo-Bionica offers to our clients. The combination of our engineering expertise and our strong business and product marketing knowledge is the strongest proposition to Neo-Bionica's clients. We also see our role as being broader, as we commit to share our skills and expertise and train the next generation. We see our mission as growing Neo-Bionica as a business and also at growing the medtech community around us. And to demonstrate that commitment, we have established a technology voucher program with the support of the Victorian government. And through the program, startups and researchers can apply for funding to access Neo-Bionica's resources for early stage projects. We will send information about the program by email just after this event. You can also visit the Neo-Bionica's website to find out more. Feel free to reach out to us. We would be truly delighted that the launch of Neo-Bionica also supports the launch of new medtech ventures. As Alexander Gosling, one of my mentors, told me recently, Neo-Bionica is doing interesting and important things. Interesting because the scientific and engineering field we are working within is complex and multidimensional. Important because the purpose of our business is to enable more medical devices to reach market quicker and ultimately to improve the lives of patients. Once again, thank you for your interest in Neo-Bionica. We look forward to talking to you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Ludovic. The pandemic has underscored the importance of medical research to the Victorian economy. Science, medicine, engineering, and manufacturing are in the spotlight. Neo-Bionica is an initiative that aims to bring to market the research and engineering emanating from areas that push the boundaries of science and engineering. We want Neo-Bionica to become a resource for the whole of the Australian medtech community as an exemplar of technology translation and commercialisation. Our ultimate goal is to benefit patients and transform lives around the world. If you would like more information about Neo-Bionica and our technology voucher program, please go to our website. And now we look forward to connecting with you soon to talk about Neo-Bionica. Thank you for your interest in Neo-Bionica and thank you very much for joining us today. Take care, stay safe.